Welcome everybody to episode 15 minutes of Real Time. With me as always is the Robert De Niro to my Edward Burns. Robbie, how you going?
All right. I think this is going to be longer than 15 minutes.
Yes, that was going to be my other lead in as well.
Yeah, fair enough. You knew where I was
I'm
going
not giving listeners a false hope here that it's going to be 15 minutes, quick and short. But we do have a bit to talk about.
If we didn't talk about all the stuff with this coronavirus thing, this might actually be 15 minutes.
Yeah, we might, we'll probably get it under an hour, I reckon. But
it's possible. We'll see if we don't include the game at the end. Probably could be under an hour. So there's not a lot to talk about. But I've kind of procured stuff to talk about just so we had some interesting tidbits and bits and pieces, and I think you've done the same.
Yeah.
So we should rock on, I guess.
Crack on to some of the Marvel Phase 4 stuff. So, because of this whole coronavirus and God knows what's going to happen, there's been an entire reshuffle of not just the MCU, but just anything and everything. Movies, TVs, media, you name it.
I've made a list for everything I could find, which is quite extensive. Which is, I'm surprised how much has changed. So, but I started with the Marvel Phase 4 thing because each thing's had a knock-on effect for everything up until Black Panther 2, basically. So Black Widow was supposed to be out in May, the start of May, and is now November 5th. Eternals, which was then, has now been pushed to February 12th, 2021, and then again, knock-on effect. So Shang-Chi is now May 7th of 2021, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is November 5th. Now Thor Love and Thunder is now February 18th, 2022, which I guess they're kind of going, it's Love and Thunder, it's close to Valentine's Day. And
that's a good call.
Yeah. And Black Panther, obviously, as I said, remains at 8th of May, 2022. That was the pre-announced date. So they basically just compressed the time space between each now and Black Panther 2, basically, and reshuffled. Yeah, we were already talking about the overflow of number of comic book movies and how many you could get out in a year. It's now compressed that down even more.
Yeah, so they're trying to get more out in that 18-month period.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Yeah, that's for sure.
For sure. Let's see. So, Downhill and The Call of the Wild are both releasing early.
So both of them got cinema releases before the coronavirus outbreak, and they both got... Downhill didn't get completely cut short, but Call of the Wild definitely did. But they're both going to immediate digital release, I think, in the next week. So you can rent or buy them digital online. Usual places.
Now, we can't escape this from, the past several episodes at least?
I think...
Uncharted.
If not more, honestly.
We just can't... we probably could stop talking about it, because I'm sure you're probably sick of listening about it, but Uncharted just can't catch a break, whether it's directors, whether it's scripting, whether it's, you name it.
Yeah, definitely.
But because of this, it's now slated for October 8th, 2021.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was they actually were starting their shoot.
Yeah.
So they literally... The crew... amassed in Berlin. The first day of shooting was supposed to be in Berlin, and they shut down on the first day. This was according to Tom Holland himself. He's like, I turned up to Berlin, we're all ready to do day one, and then when we got to the set at the start of the day, everyone's like, hey guys, we've decided that
to pull the plug.
we have to pull the plug because of the coronavirus concerns, and so apparently he just went back to London and is just staying with family.
Movie just can't catch a break. I mean, is this ever going to come out now?
Well, at this stage, October 8th, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
2021, sorry, I should say. So more moves. Oh my gosh. Pixar's Souls moved from June 19th to November 20th. Tenet is still planned for July 17th at this stage, but I won't be surprised if that gets pushed. Mulan has now been pushed to July 24th. Again, it could change depending on circumstances. SpongeBob Sponge on the Run is now July 31st, although I had seen August 7th listed for a few places. It might just depend on where it is in the world. Wonder Woman 1984 is now August 14th. 2020. Bill and Ted Face Music is still planned currently for August 21st, 2020 at this stage.
I still see that popping up on my Facebook feed every now and then. That
they're doing
4 months
countdown.
to go.
Yeah,
countdowns,
they did that. So that just
surprisingly still no trailer though.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
We're 4 months out. We've only seen photos released, but no trailer.
Yeah.
Curious.
It's interesting. Maybe something soon, but it'll depend on the date. Maybe that's what they're waiting to see. Free Guy has moved to December 11th. Top Gun Maverick is now December 23rd, so it's coming out for Christmas.
So if you want to take your wingman to a movie
or wing lady,
your wing lady, your wing person,
take
your wing person to a movie for Christmas. Or early Christmas present.
Quiet Place 2 has now been rescheduled for September 4th. That was obviously supposed to come out a while back, and it's been pushed back to then. Wes Anderson's new movie, The French Dispatch, has been moved to October 16th, 2020. Jungle Cruise, which we talked about last episode, has been pushed back almost a year to June 20th. I think it was supposed to be June 21st, so literally a day short of a year, I think. Peter Rabbit 2 is now January 15th, 2021. Ghostbusters was a big disappointment. Moved from August, is now March 5th, 2021. Morbius is now March 19th. 2021. Elvis, which obviously is still supposed to be shooting and hasn't done, is now November 5th, 2021.
We'll get to Tom Hanks about...
We will. Shazam 2 is now November 4th, 2022, and it's a possibility Black Adam will be pushed back from its December 22nd, 2021 date, as filming doesn't plan to happen until late summer of the US this year anyway.
If it does at all.
Yeah, it depends. Greyhound, the movie we talked about last episode with Tom Hanks, is now TBD. Mm-hmm. The untitled Sony Marvel film we also mentioned last episode is now TBD, so to be determined. Minions 2 is now back a whole year, basically, July 2nd. That date was originally supposed to be for Sing 2, which has now been pushed to December. And that date that it's taken December was supposed to be for a Wicked film based on the stage
Broadway
performance.
play.
Yep. And that's now been put into a to-be-determined slot. Scoob is no longer a cinema release. Warner Bros. Has decided to put it online for rental by from the day that it was originally supposed to come out. So it was supposed to come out at the cinemas on May 15th. Instead, you can go online and get it. I don't think Ryan will be.
No.
You're such a fan. Chris Pratt's sci-fi The Tomorrow War has been pushed back to be determined. It was supposed to release at Christmas. I think that's the slot that Top Gun's now taken.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, My Spy with Dave Bautista has been dropped from most releases worldwide. There's a few places around the world that are getting it theatrical where the cinemas open, but instead it's going to release on Amazon Prime Video. Disney is also doing the same with Artemis Fowl. That's going to go on Disney Plus, which was the only movie so far that they've slated that was supposed to have a cinema release to that platform. Disney also pushed Indiana Jones 5 back to August 29th, 2022. Oof. Because the production's just not going to get underway anytime soon. Candyman, which was supposed to release very soon, has now been pushed back to September 25th, 2020, which is the same day as Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, which is still scheduled for that date at this stage. Monster Hunter, the Paul W.S. Anderson take on the video game franchise, is planned for September 4th. Halloween Kills and The Witches remake are still scheduled for October at this stage. Venom 2 is now being called Venom Let There Be Carnage, and it moves to the 25th of June 2021 as shooting is still to be finished. And West Side Story, June, and Coming to America are all set for the original dates in December still at this stage. So that's basically every single thing I could find online. There's probably more I missed.
So much. It's just insane. Like,
yeah,
what's going on?
A crazy amount. On top of that, also the San Diego Comic Con's been cancelled for this year because obviously there's no point in putting mass crowds together in San Diego, and they'd already cancelled their WonderCon in Anaheim a month or two back anyway. So
yeah, the one thing I find annoying about this, not for me personally, but for people that are potentially going this year but also wanted to go next year, from what I know of it, it's really hard to get like a pin or token or whatever it is to get access to it. Because it's like, we've gone to Armageddon's here and you just, pay $60 or whatever for a multi-day pass.
And people can still buy tickets on the day.
Exactly.
Cases.
Whereas Comic-Con, I think, is more of like some sort of a lottery system.
It sells out so quickly. Yeah. And the thing is, I know that much like everything else, they've said people can either get a refund or they can just put it towards next year's one.
Yeah, which I was going to touch on, which I kind of feel sorry for people that wanted to go next year, but the people that wanted to go this year instead of going, I know it's confusing, going next year,
taking those spots. Yeah.
They're taking those spots. There's less new people, I say that in parentheses, can go next year as well. Which is, it may have a follow-on effect for the year after, it may not, but I do feel sorry for those people that want to go next year, but I mean, can't in a way.
This is kind of the same as everything. Like people, I've seen posts, you've seen this as well. People who had planned travel during this period and who were supposed to be in UK or America or whatever, and they can't. And it's the same kind of deal, I guess, in that respect. Especially people who put out time and money and so forth. Yeah, well, I know of a couple of friends. They were going to go to WrestleMania this year and take their little daughter to Disneyland as well. So, I think it was supposed to be like a 3-week journey for the whole thing, and now, as soon as I think Disneyland was the first one to go, we're closing. They're like, okay,
we may still hold out some hope. And then WrestleMania's like, no, we're filming at the Performance Center, so
yeah, no crowds.
Yeah,
of course. Well, that's it exactly, and
It's one of
then
those
they just
things.
have to hope that they can get it bumped to another time and
or somehow get a refund on something.
and stuff. Yeah, where possible. People have been pretty reasonable. I think it's pretty it's pretty unprecedented. That's where I'm going with it. It's not exactly like a thing that you would expect to happen, and I think most places are pretty cool to still be like, well, if people want to come next year, that's still money in the bank for us, for the event.
In a way,
so.
So I'd be interested to see what, if any, emails went out to people with like tickets for like WrestleMania or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Seth MacFarlane did a bit on coronavirus under the idea of Stewie and Brian doing a podcast and call-ins from other guest voices. Now, I would assume it would be everyone he's made friends with doing Family Guy.
No, it's just him doing voices that he can do. So it was just him doing it by himself, and it's only like 5 minutes long, but it's pretty funny, and it takes the piss out of like all these kind of things online. Like at one point, Brian decides to start singing Imagine, and she was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
You should go online and have a listen to it. It's pretty funny. It's only about 5 minutes. He posted it up on like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, so it's pretty easy to find. I thought it was quite funny, and it's kind of like it's a tongue-in-cheek, very Family Guy-esque thing, but it's also kind of a PSA at the same time. So it has its intent and so forth, and it's also kind of taking the piss out of the stuff that you see online. So I thought it was quite funny. So I thought it was another little online bit like we were talking about last episode.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about updates about the coronavirus-based celebrity ones. I mean, not that we should be saying anything more about celebrities than the other people that have been unfortunate to either get ill or die. But there's just those things that become quite infamous online when you hear these stories and stuff that we talked about last episode that we kind of wanted to talk about again, I guess.
Yeah, no, and we talked about Elvis being pushed back as well earlier in the episode. Now, of course, we talked about Tom Hanks and the Greyhound movie last episode as well. Now, Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson, they have now recovered. They're back home in the US. Mm-hmm. Idris Elba and Daniel Day-Kim, they've both recovered as well. Yeah, and I assume they're both back in England. And
I think Idris was already in the UK with his wife. I think his wife was taking the piss out of him because he didn't have really any symptoms. So he was just kind of being online going, I've got coronavirus, but I'm not really sick. But I think other people like his wife and stuff actually did. So
he's just sort of taking precautions.
Yeah. And for him, that was this kind of, I think he did say it was kind of a scary thing to be like told you've got this illness and yet you felt nothing at all. Like,
and funny enough, you brought this to my attention because I just happened to be watching Space Truckers on TV the other day. That Debbie Mazar is infected and she's recovering.
Yeah, she's be posting online about again. I think this is the one thing I think that celebrities do really well for this cause. And there's been other people saying like stuff like Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson getting sick are kind of a turning point for how serious people started taking it. And there's some truth to it when people can point out these are the symptoms I had. These are things to be aware of. If you think you're sick, then this might be things to be aware of. It's kind of good. I mean, it does obviously impact everyone slightly differently in some respects, but generally the main symptoms are the same, and so it's nice to see people. And so that's exactly what she did. She said, "These are the symptoms I had. This is how I was feeling. This is the timeline of progression and what I did." So,
and I think for the likes of someone like Tom Hanks, people would probably take him pretty damn seriously because it's Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's it.
Nobody really wants to lose Tom Hanks.
Yeah, well, that's it. And it was the same with Olga Kurylenko. She also did the same thing as Debbie Mazar, kind of posting up information about her getting sick and so forth as well. Yeah. It was very funny though. The other one I added here, it was kind of this random ass story that Justin Long told. His brother and his brother's girlfriend will possibly got it as well. I think his brother's girlfriend got sick first, and then they were living in this kind of a little bubble together, and so they were kind of isolated. But when they reported it, their symptoms went very high level. They were like just a little bit of aches, a little bit of tightness in the chest, but nothing too serious. And so they were considered high risk enough, so they weren't told to get tested. So they all think they had it. They just weren't.
Yeah, see, that's very concerning. Like, how do you? I don't want to get too medical into this, but how do you warrant who's going to be, enough of a risk to get tested or not?
Well, this is the thing, though. The other part of it is those tests also don't qualify for the numbers at the end of the day. Like, when you're looking at the overall statistics of, like, how many people were infected in America, say, for example, then the people that aren't getting counted aren't going towards the title of people who actually got infected and recovered, which makes the death toll potentially look higher. It makes the actual infected numbers lower.
Yeah. We'll go to the slightly sad part of our podcast. Speaking of like, people recovering or not recovering in this case.
Well, there's a whole bunch of I've listed a whole bunch of ones that were based around coronavirus. They're either people who died of coronavirus or they had underlying symptoms that coronavirus obviously had enough
caused it.
Yeah,
or
impacted.
attributed to it. So we've got Mark Blum, who was recently seen on Netflix's You.
Yep. And we just saw him in Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, that was on TV here recently as well.
He was well known in the stage community in New York. It was funny because when I saw him in Crocodile Dundee, I was like, oh, he looks familiar. And I looked him up, and I looked up and I saw that I looked up his details, and I saw that he just died, and I was like, in New York, and I was like, I wonder if it's coronavirus. I looked it up. Sure enough, it was. Funny enough, for like 3 days earlier, I had actually read his about his death online, and I didn't put two and two together at first. It was so weird, and then later on I was like, hang on, wait, I did actually read about this, and then I went back and looked, and I was like, yeah, I did. So it was kind of weird. I already read about it, didn't put two and two together. So yeah, even he's still a prolific actor, still acting, as you can see from the Netflix stuff, keeping himself busy, and that's just unfortunate.
So let's see. There was also Andrew Jack. He was an actor and dialect coach. He was recently seen in the Force Awakens, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. And he's worked on hundreds of films as a dialect coach, including Star Wars films, Lord of the Rings, among others. So he would be like to get proper accents and all that.
He was
on the made-up languages, I guess.
Yeah, he's very well respected. There was so many posts from people who worked with him on, especially on those films, but others as well, as a dialect coach and just as a genuinely nice guy. If you want to see who he is, if you go to The Last Jedi, he's the guy that stands out on the battlefield with the binoculars. When he runs in the trenches and he's standing there with the binoculars, that's him. Yeah. So again, a lot of outpouring online, just how much shock. The worst case, I think it was him. He was in the UK, and his partner was an Australian. She was quarantined in Australia, he died in the UK, and she was stuck in Australia. So, not particularly a great story there either, unfortunately.
No. See, now, when I initially read through this, I read it as Lou Ferrigno for some reason, but it's not. It's Lee Fierro, who is most well known for playing Mrs. Kittner, whose young boy is killed by the shark in Jaws. Yeah. And she was a well-respected theatre director and acting teacher.
Yeah, there's a lot of outpouring. I mean, the reason why she was in that in the movie is because obviously they filmed at Martha's Vineyard, and that's where she was kind of based at the time. And she was there for a lot of time, ran a acting school and like performance centre and so forth. So very well respected. A lot of outpouring, just a shame. At this point, I think she was living in a retirement village or something somewhere else, so she wasn't there anymore. But yeah, again, same thing.
There was also Jay Benedict, character actor Jay Benedict, who most people know as Newt's father in the Aliens director's cut. Yep. He'd done over 120 films. He was also director of ADR company, Sink or Swim.
Yeah. So as you've explained previously to other people, ADR is just like looping your dialogue.
Yeah. If you can't get clean dialogue in movies, you go into a booth
and try and sync yourself to your original what you said originally, and so that's the whole point of that. But yeah, the fact that he'd been like character actor in over 120 films, I was really surprised. Like when I saw that and when I looked it up, again, just the who's gauntlet of like people he's worked with and like actors, directors, the films he's been in. Again, relatively very well respected, and as well as the company that he was involved in. So yeah.
Let's see. There was also Disney and Hanna-Barbera animator Anne Sullivan, who worked on likes of Peter Pan, Little Mermaid, Lion King, and Tarzan.
Yeah, she was 91, so again a home, quite an age thing and complications based around coronavirus. But very well respected again. Worked with Disney obviously in the 60s and 70s. Hanna-Barbera, same thing. Then went back to Disney and then was part of that last golden age of the resurgence in Disney animation. She retired after Tarzan. She did one more film, which was it Home on the Range, I think it was the last traditional animated film that Disney did for a while. And then when they shuttered that, she retired, basically.
Let's see, so we've got a couple more here. So we've got Ellen Garfield, actor from films such as The Conversation and Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yep. Again, prolific character actor. In Beverly Hills Cop 2, he plays, I think it's the police chief, I think it is. But again, very well respected character actor, very numerous credits, and again, same thing, complications, unfortunately.
Now, our final one here is Ellen Devio?
Davio.
Devio? Oh, sorry if we're butchering that. Yeah. Cinematographer on many films, including numerous Spielberg ones, such as E.T., Temple of Doom, The Colour Purple, Empire of the Sun, and others like Harry and the Hendersons, Bugsy, Fearless, Cargo, and Van Helsing. Congo, rather, not Kango.
I was going to say.
Sorry, Congo and Van Helsing.
It's interesting too. When I saw this originally, I didn't know this. I was just like, oh, he got picked up by Spielberg for a while there. But actually, him and Spielberg knew each other from the 60s. And he actually shot Spielberg's short film Amblin, which is obviously where the company name comes from. And Davio had gone off and done his own career and ended up sending him a tape or something of a TV movie he'd shot just before Spielberg worked on E.T. and he saw it and loved it and hired him immediately. And then, as the thing attests, he pretty much used him for most of the bulk of his work through the 80s. That's like every film I think Spielberg did, from E.T. to Empire of the Sun, I think. So the next film, when he went into the 90s, he did always different cinematographers. So, but yeah, again, Spielberg put out a thing as well, just saying maybe we did a nice tribute to him as well on the Amblin website.
Oh, nice.
And Twitter and stuff.
Moving away from coronavirus-related deaths, we've also lost Brian Dennehy through natural causes at the age of 81.
Dennehy is, again, like just that sort of big, larger-than-life kind of character actor, kind of elevated beyond that character's status. Most people probably either know him as the hard-ass police captain in Rambo, or as Chris Farley's dad and Tommy Boy. Yeah, that's probably the two things I know him more. But he's still acting. He's in the Blacklist just recently. Still got a few episodes of that apparently with him in it to be released. But yeah, nothing but warm, amazing stories about him. He was also a very prolific stage performer as well. Won a bunch of awards and was very well respected in that area, especially in Chicago.
And we also can't forget his minor cameo in the South Park movie, Bigger, Longer and Uncut, during the Brian Boitano song. When he just shows up thinking they're talking about him.
That's right, I forgot about that. I'd completely forgotten about that. I had actually completely
No, dude, not Brian Dennehy. Oh, bye. And finally, Honor Blackman, natural causes, not coronavirus at 95. Most famous was Pussy Galore and Goldfinger.
Yeah, such an iconic role that obviously was the biggest thing she was ever known for, and rightfully so. It has still an impact on the way that women are in Bond movies. Well, there's still a scene where Bond slaps her in the face and like pushes her down on some hay. For the most part, she was the first kind of strong Bond woman in the franchise, in that she had a team of crack pilots, and she held her own in a gunfight, and and that was not something that Bond films had seen up until that point, and that's still quite early on. It's like it's at the fourth film, I think, and obviously that's really important in the post Pierce Brosnan era. Kind of like they started having this women that actually talked back to Bond and was just as strong as he was, and she was kind of the precursor to it, so very important.
Right, so we'll move on to our Disney Plus era of the podcast. So Disney Plus will have the correct formatted Simpsons by the end of May. I think we've talked about this previously.
Yeah, so they said they were going to try and have it done, but it'll be apparently up by the end of the month. It'll be nice to see, because obviously it cuts off all the visual gags and just getting the right format for the right eras. So I think it's like the 19 seasons and part of season 20, because they didn't go HD until like part way through season 20.
I think so, yeah. When the movie sort of came out as well.
I think it was, yeah. So so all those will be in the correct format by then, which is a nice change, because right now they're kind of zoomed in.
Yeah. Speaking of The Simpsons, the short that they've come out with on Disney Plus, completely gapped the name of it now.
But it was originally with Onward originally.
Yeah, it was
because Onward has gone to Disney Plus as well.
Yeah. So that got put up on the Disney Plus Facebook page for 24 hours, which I guess for people that don't have Disney Plus but were interested, and The Simpsons as well. It's a nice little 5-minute video for them to watch, I guess, as an enticement. And it looks to lead into a relationship between Maggie and Hudson, leading into season 31.
So Hudson's another baby that she meets at a park, like a little playground.
Yeah. So I'm kind of surprised it's Hudson and not I can't think. Is it Gerald? think it's a little monobrowed kid. It's a rival.
Yeah, but that's not a love story.
Yeah.
That's more of a rival. But they could bring that dynamic.
Bring that into it somehow. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It's pretty funny.
I don't know.
I like that short because as I said to you, it's basically just sound and not really any dialogue, and it's nice.
With the only real dialogue is Maggie's pacifier sucking. That's about it.
I guess correctly because I said to you it feels like it could be a B story in an episode, and apparently that's how it started. The genesis of the idea was it was going to be the B side of an episode, and
makes
then
sense.
they realised it was kind of better than a B, so they were kind of like, this could be its own little thing, and they'd already obviously done those previous shorts before. So, yeah.
Now, the Obi-Wan show with Ewan McGregor, that's got a new writer to go ahead. Same director and looking to go ahead. Still is planned filming early next year at this stage. But I guess with all the pushbacks, it could be a domino effect.
It could have a domino effect. So the director, oh my gosh, my brain's gone blank, but it's the female director that worked on Mandalorian. Gosh, I should have written this down. No,
it's not Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh, so there was two. That's right, there was two. Sorry, apologies. My apologies.
Yeah, I know who you mean, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
either.
so there's the other one. She's the director for the whole series apparently. So, and she's staying, so it's not like she's left. So
yeah. And speaking of Star Wars, the Rogue One, Cassian Andor prequel series only got 4 weeks into production before being shut down.
Yeah, and that came from the was it Diego Luna himself saying we only got four weeks, about 4 weeks in. So that'll get delayed. Funny enough, what I didn't write down here in general was that there was a general catch up about Disney Plus. Most of the, I think, Falcon and the Winter Soldier didn't got about 3/4 of the way through a shoot. I don't know about WandaVision. I haven't heard anything about it, or Loki, but a lot of them have been shut down in the middle of it. Which we kind of talked about last time that Disney Plus had said they were looking at closing down as many productions that week.
It's possible, yeah.
So it was probably at the end of that week or thereabouts.
Now, Taika Waititi sadly couldn't return to direct any episodes of Mandalorian for season 2 as he was busy doing his next film, Goal Wins?
No, next Goal Wins.
His next film, Next Goal Wins. That really threw me off. Disney
I need
Plus
to put that in quotes so that you knew what the title was.
Yeah, Disney Plus looking at season 3 for him to come back.
Oh, that's
great.
Of
course, for those of you who haven't seen Mandalorian season 1, spoiler alert, he voices IG-11, who sadly perished at the end of that.
He's not just voice, I think he was motion capture too, because they did everything motion capture, I think.
So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if he comes back as, like, I don't know, maybe another robot or another character or something, if he does come back.
And obviously directs again, yeah. So
yeah.
And they'll go ahead with season 3. I mean, anyway, we kind of expected this.
Yeah, and I mean, that's already sort of been announced that they've...
And they finished season 2, so, yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be up in a couple of months as well, which I'm excited for. Joe Kasdan...
John.
John, is it? Sorry, it is. You're quite right. I'm having a terrible time reading today. John Kasdan...
Needs glasses.
Doesn't think a solo follow-up will happen even on Disney Plus due to their full slate.
Which is funny, because I just saw, like, I haven't added to the list as well. I knew there was something else. They added they were going to announce a potential another Star Wars series being headed by someone else. I can't remember. I was supposed to write this down. I just saw it literally, like, just before we started recording. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so they've got a full slate and they're adding more to it, and we still can't get the solo follow-up. I mean, maybe it's more because no one doesn't want it, but...
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things going around that I've read online previously, like, did Solo really need to be a movie, or could they have done it like The Mandalorian? And I think if there's a follow-up, then you probably could make it more of a episodic thing as opposed to a movie. Because going back and watching Solo again, all right, it's not the best Star Wars film, I'll say that, but it's probably also not the worst either, in my opinion. Like, it's still a pretty good Star Wars film. It's just,
I think there's good moments.
It could have been done better.
I think there's good moments, but again, as I think I said at the time I saw it, it was like, I didn't need to know the answers to these questions I didn't care about. Like, how did Han Solo get his blaster? How did Han Solo get his name?
Yeah.
How did he get this? How did he meet Chewbacca? How did it? Yeah, I don't care about these things. Like, they just existed. It doesn't need to be explained.
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned this before. It's like the last 20 minutes of Revenge of the Sith, where stuff that you already sort of know is shoehorned in, just for that exposition of to get character A to point B sort of thing. Yeah,
I know exactly.
So. Yeah, we'll move on. Disney Plus next platform-only remake is the 1973 take on Robin Hood.
Yeah, so basically, I think it's the same people that did their platform-specific version of Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Because that one's a fox, isn't it, from memory?
So they're all animals. They're all animals, but yeah. Okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah, the less said, the better. All right, we'll move on.
Well, you could say something about it. I don't know. I just saw it listed, and I was like, okay, yep, cool, right. Yeah, I'm sure that'll appeal to no one. But
Go on then. Yep. Now, Disney Plus have censored Splash.
Yeah, this has been a big thing around the internet. I think I showed you. You hadn't heard about it, so I showed you the clip. Actually, I showed you the clip of the Corridor Crew guys pulling apart what they'd actually done to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's caused a big stink because everyone's seen it, and it's so blatantly obvious that something that was supposed to cover up something so minute has become a bigger deal than which they say as well. Which is how I'd seen it originally, all these people on the internet. It is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I've got the original movie on DVD. Like,
yeah, and you showed me the original clip as well. I'm like, yeah, you could probably get away with that.
People forget it's time. Like, did that traumatize kids who saw Splash in the 80s and 90s? No.
Probably not, no.
Why is it going to traumatize kids now watching it on Disney Plus? It's not changing the rating. The movie was rated the rating it got with that in it. It hasn't changed. Like, that's weird self-censorship. I don't get it.
It's weird. Who knows? It's Disney being Disney.
She just looks like she's got a furry ass.
Yeah, that's what really threw me.
It throws everyone off. It just looks really weird. Like, it's not even her hair. It's just like, oh, she's growing hair out of her backside.
Yeah. Now, Disney Plus is looking to reboot Doogie Howser MD.
I just had that theme song in my head.
You're done now. It'd be interesting to see if there'll probably be an updated version of that, no doubt, of the theme song. But
I don't know why I did that. I have no idea why I just did that. Ryan's just looking at me like, what the fuck, man? Like, seriously?
Trying to do something serious here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Ruining it.
Sorry.
All right. So no doubt there'll be an updated version of that, and it'll be interesting to see if Neil Patrick Harris somehow is involved. Perhaps.
I assume
like
you
a senior doctor or something.
It can't be. It can't be. They're going to do it. They're not going to keep the name Doogie Howser MD, right? You'd think that you wouldn't reboot it. You just make it a sequel, and you have like a different like medical genius. And if you try and get Neil Patrick Harris to come and cameo as as a grown-up Doogie Howser, like that would make way more sense.
It's like a surgeon general, or however high
exactly
doctors get in the medical
exactly.
profession.
And then he's like the guy who appears occasionally, and this is a new person. That would be way more sensible. He could make it a continuation.
He could be like the Dr. Cox to, I guess, a new JD in Scrubs.
Yeah, okay.
In a way.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, it just not the Dr. Cox-esque character. But you get what I mean.
He'd be like flicking him in the ear and calling him girls' names.
Yeah, he'd be like the mentor to the new fresh person.
Yeah, and
sort of thing.
I mean, the only reason you'd call it still Dr. Doogie Howser MD is the fact that he's still in it. Otherwise, it's weird. I don't know. Whatever. Disney going to Disney. Let's just say that.
That's pretty much it. Now you've put this down here, which I don't think I knew about. That James Gunn confirmed he had to fight to get Dave Bautista cast in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I can't remember. So Gunn's been doing a couple of for this quarantine thing, he's doing like live commentary kind of things, and he's doing another one for Guardians too. And so I don't know if this came out during that Guardians of the Galaxy one, or if it was just a general question he answered, but it was on Twitter anyway. And yes, so someone asked, was it easy to get Dave Bautista in as cast, or did you have to fight the studio? And he was straight up and was like, yeah, no, I had to fight to get him in there. Like, it was a fight worth making. I really just saw him in the role, and it was as far as I was concerned, it was perfect. Basically, So yeah, it was a really good, really blunt, fresh comment. I think it was quite nice. I
think the one thing I knew about that is that when Dave Bautista got the phone call to say that he was cast in it, apparently he broke down and cried. He was that happy about it.
Well, he'd been really trying to get roles, and I remember seeing him in an interview also saying how he really tried for that role. He really wanted it. So it's not surprising, I guess, in that respect.
No. Speaking of James Gunn, he's released on Spotify a Meredith Quill playlist, which features songs he likes, songs that which he thought would fit Meredith Quill's playlist, which she gave to Star-Lord when he was a kid, but he then opened it when he was like 30 or whatever.
Right, because he had the version 1 and then he had the volume 2. Yeah.
So it features songs that are in that, as well as songs that he either couldn't get rights for to play in the movie, or he didn't feel as though they fit into the pacing of the movie. So it's all that and a little bit more.
Yep, that makes sense. I just see the list is quite a lengthy list. It's quite good. He's been posting a lot on Twitter just because he's got nothing else to do. He's working on the post-production of Suicide Squad, and because they finished shooting, so it's all everyone's isolated in little bubbles, and they're editing and he's doing his directing stuff related to edit and post-production from home with other people, and so he's had a lot to say online. He's been talking about how he's enjoying writing for Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad, and he's been doing this, and then obviously been doing these things with Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's been quite vocal. It's been quite nice.
Yeah, it's been good.
One of the other things he said you've written down.
Yeah, so one of the other things, I think it was like a Twitter thing going around where people are going like the hashtag 5 perfect films.
Oh yes, I've seen this.
Now for James Gunn, he'd put down, I don't know if this is any particular order, it's just what was on his Twitter. So number 1 is Back to the Future.
Yep.
Just the first one.
Yep.
And I think he'd put in parentheses of, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of how Mom and Dad don't remember Marty.
Yeah.
In a way, because they would, if you think about it.
Yeah.
They'd remember him. Chinatown at number 2. 3 was Rashomon.
Yep.
4 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yep.
And 5 was The Thing. I assume it's the original.
You mean the Carpenter original, but not the original, the thing from...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good solid list. I have seen some of the other people posting, other directors and other people posting that up as well. So.
He also said that, what could be perfect to him may not be perfect to others. It's
totally subjective. It's totally true.
It's your own interpretation.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. It's yeah. How do you feel about that list? What would you put on your list?
Oh, see, now, I don't know if I could do it off the spot, to be honest.
Yeah, that's my problem as well. I was thinking this myself. As soon as I said that, I opened my mouth. I was like, you're just going to turn that around on me. I'm like, I have no idea what I would say right now. Back to the Future is a pretty good answer. I honestly, that's a pretty good, close to perfect film.
Maybe we'll make that for our next episode. We'll come back with 5 lists that we think are, in our mind, are perfect.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, right.
I'm over that.
So we'll make a note of that. We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Keeping with MCU-esque related things, Sam Raimi has been confirmed to be the director for Doctor Strange 2.
Yep.
Director of the first... What? Is it First Things? It's supposed to be First Things? Scott
Yeah,
Derrickson?
it's supposed to be Things.
Yeah, okay. So director of
that
the
one
First
lost
Things,
me.
Scott Derrickson thinks it's a great choice. Raimi thinks it's weird he added a name drop of Strange in Spider-Man 2, but never expected he'd do a film with a camera. Film with the camera.
With the character. It's auto-corrected for some
You're
reason.
just screwing me up deliberately today, aren't you?
I didn't do it earlier. All the other ones were you. This is literally the first one I've actually done something bad. You read the wrong things
I
earlier.
think he's trying to screw me up, people.
Okay, so the what are you supposed to say? Raimi thinks it's weird he added the name drop of Doctor Strange to Spider-Man 2, but never expected he would do a film with the character. With the character, not the camera.
Hey, I'm just reading what it says.
Yeah, but you read the ones earlier and you didn't even read them right either, so I'm not faultless here.
I can't even say I remember that name drop in Spider-Man 2.
I think it's actually Raimi's brother, he plays the character in the...
He's at the Daily Bugle.
And he mentioned something about Stephen Strange.
Oh, okay.
Or Doctor Strange, I can't remember, at some point in Spider-Man 2. I even went back and looked at the clip. So, yeah. And he was the one that mentioned it. It was on the response when it was on Twitter or Facebook or whatever.
Oh, weird. Because there's obviously the name drop in... Is it Winter Soldier?
Yes.
I think, Captain America Winter Soldier. There's that name drop. But
all the way back in Spider-Man 2.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy, yeah.
And, of course, I think we talked about this before it was announced. I was like, Bruce Campbell's going to show up and he'd probably be a villain. And then, was it the next day?
I think it was the next day.
Tagged you in it. I was like...
Told you.
Bruce Campbell is keen to play the villain, or anyone really. I was like, come on.
Hey, I mean, specifically his tweet was more to do with like, he needs a bad guy to fight, right? Like that. But realistically, I knew previously I'd already seen Bruce Campbell say, whenever Sam Raimi's got a movie, I'm willing to play anything. So that's basically the truth of it. Literally, if you gave him a small cameo, he'd play it. If you gave him a main role, he'd play it. Anything, he'll do anything for Sam. So,
and I think because he's in all 3 of his Spider-Man films as well.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
The wrestling announcer, he's What's the second one? Is it the second one, the restaurant where he's the French waiter or the maitre d' rather?
I think it is the third one. Yeah, I can't remember the third one. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I'm not
pretty
a fan
sure
of
he
that
is in
third
all
one.
three of them.
I'm not a fan of that.
Nobody is. Now, Patty Jenkins has explained why she left Thor 2. She said she wasn't happy with the script's direction and knew she would be the one to shoulder the blame for the end result and not get to make another film.
Yeah, that's basically the truth of it. I mean, it makes fair enough. I mean, this is the thing, and female directors really struggle to get work in the first place.
Yeah.
And then when they make a not well-received film, that's basically quaffed in the end of their career. It's an unfortunate and shouldn't be the case.
No.
So she went, right, I'm not happy with the direction the script's going, I'm not happy with how this is progressing, I'm dropping out. And that was it. That was literally it. It's fair enough too. So it was quite interesting to see her being that, again, blunt and brutally honest about it. But obviously, in the end, it was the right decision because she went off to make Wonder Woman and it was well received and did really well. And she gets to make more movies. So, yeah. Good on her.
Speaking of Wonder Woman, the Batman shoot has shot about a quarter of the film, according to director Matt Reeves.
Again, one of those things that we talked about last episode that's been put on hold due to the coronavirus. But yeah, so they shot about a quarter of the film before the break, and I think he said he's looking at dailies and doing a rough edit of what they can.
Yeah, and of course, I think we talked last episode as well about the photos that have been released as well, like the Batmobile or the bike in the graveyard.
Yeah, and the suits and the stunt guy in this full suit, and yep, that's totally true.
Sticking with DC, so apparently on April 18th was Superman's birthday, which I didn't know about. So on that day, there was the likes of John Cryer from Supergirl, Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, and Clancy Brown from the Superman animated series, of course, who have all played Lex Luthor in some way or another.
And they're usually in those three forms. Yes.
In those three forms, exactly as I mentioned. They all trolled Twitter as, like, I didn't see any of their tweets, but I think they just sort of bad-mouthed Superman on his birthday, sort of in character.
In character, yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Now there's kind of two names there that are neglected. One being Gene Hackman.
Yeah, well,
of course,
Hackman doesn't really do anything.
No,
he probably doesn't even have Twitter.
Yeah, he probably doesn't even know what a tweet is rather. A tweeted twit.
A tweeted twit.
And Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
But we won't go into that.
Yeah, well, those are pretty obvious reasons.
We won't leave that alone. Now, Hobbs and Shaw gets a sequel, according to Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. Shall we even touch this? It's
up to you. You put it down.
I did put it down. I'm like, I looked at it and went, who wants this? Like, does anyone really want this? I don't know if anyone wants this. I know Tyrese Gibson definitely doesn't want that.
That big ass forehead.
Jeepers. Yeah. I mean, the last one wasn't horrible. It wasn't great either. Like, there's some. What am I saying? I don't even know. Like, this is
all right, we'll move on.
Dwayne, you can do better. Let's just put it that way. You can do better.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
So Edgar Wright is already planning his next film based on the book Set My Heart to 5.
Yeah.
So it's about an android in the future who is
in a
world where he has become self-aware and has to convince humans he should be allowed to feel emotions.
Yeah.
It's described as Westworld meets Ready Player One, as the character seems influenced by 1980s/90s pop culture.
Yes. No idea about the book, and obviously Edgar Wright's next film hasn't even been released yet, so this is obviously working well ahead in his announcements.
Yeah. See, for me, with the exception of that, just reading that little blurb, it kind of reminds me of Bicentennial Man. Okay. With Robin Williams.
Yeah, I also thought that was quite funny that the whole Set My Heart to 5 and there's this whole character influenced by 80s, 90s pop culture also reminds me of Johnny 5.
Ah, so that could be in there somewhere
connection,
as well.
Yeah, because that's obviously like it's kind of the same thing. He's a robot who becomes self-aware. So I'd be very interested to know. I don't know anything about the book. I need to look it up. But yeah, I just saw that listed. I was like, okay, cool. We'll see what happens. I just wanted to follow up something I mentioned last time, but I just want to expand on because there was more information that I didn't really get through. So I talked about last time how the writers for Zombieland, Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, had been posting information about the previous versions of Zombieland when they were trying to get a cameo for it, and ended up being Bill Murray. They actually they put up a list of people or some of them anyway, that they considered, and posted the various script versions, so it has jokes. The funniest one for me was they took the version that had Mark Hamill, which was on the list, and I'll read the list in a second, had a Princess Leia joke that they then recycled into Deadpool 2. So they even pointed that out. They're like, we just reused that joke when we wrote Deadpool 2. Nice. So the list of possibilities included Patrick Swayze, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Bacon, Mark Hamill, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Joe Pesci, and Matthew McConaughey, among others. They also told some of the stories about trying to get the actors involved, and posted up, as I said, some of the versions of the scripts, which was quite good. And so, if you want to look them up, just go look up both their Twitter accounts, Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, and you'll find the scripts are posted attached to some of their tweets and tweet threads. So, yeah, it's quite a good laugh. It's worth checking out.
Look it up. Now, because there hasn't been a lot of movies playing domestically or internationally anywhere at most film,
especially new ones,
theaters at the moment, new ones. So the entire new US box office over the weekend of April 17th to 20th has come from just one cinema in the US, and it's a drive-in in Florida.
Yeah. So there was 2 movies released new that week. They were both from either very small independent releasing companies or something, and so they were only in there. And I think they made something like 30 to 40,000 US dollars that weekend at the one drive-in cinema.
Yeah. It's insane to think of that.
And so, like, it's really weird seeing, like, statistics on, like, sites that track this, the numbers and Box Office Mojo and stuff, where it's, like, normally, like, millions of dollars every weekend, and it's, like, all of a sudden it's, like, 40,000 here. 40,000 here.
It's insane. I think in the current situation of what's going on, like, this will may become a new norm. If say like construction could start on like new drive-ins or something. If we can't have public gatherings, we'll just go in our own little bubbles.
It's been pointed out that this is a good reason for drive-in theaters to come back in some respects, and there's a good cause for it where possible. Definitely, that's for sure.
Because I think back in the day it wasn't really a necessity. It was more of a. Would you call it a luxury to go to a drive-in theatre? Or
I don't know. It was. So
you get what I'm trying to say?
The thing was, it was. I don't know the history of drive-in cinemas. I know that the peak came post World War II.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a luxury. I mean, cinema was always a luxury in a sense. Like, I think there was just a difference between it. I think the culture was, especially in your kind of 50s, 60s, it was your teenagers' culture, right? Drove the idea that they take their date, in the car to the movie, and they didn't have to. They had their own private space, and so there's probably some societal pinning in that, but. I don't know. They just went out of favour just because of the access to cinemas, and then also the access to home entertainment. Kind of the same way that cinemas themselves have been questioned, to people going to cinemas when they can watch hours of stuff on Netflix.
Exactly.
Or whatever, and even pre that, like, people were renting stuff from the video store instead of going to the cinemas. So I think everything has its time and place, and this could be a purposeful point to say, hey, look, we need to make more drive-ins.
It could be like a resurgence of something that. Was in its heyday, but now it's, because of the economic standpoint, not necessarily economic standpoint, that's probably the wrong words, but, it could be...
not necessarily wrong, but yeah. I know
it could be,
it's one of the factors.
The thing to bring people back to the cinemas, and, that'll help the box office grow again.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Very true indeed. Well, I mean, just say, like, we've had pop-up box office, pop-up drive-ins, and they... we don't have any required specific one at all, so but that could easily happen. Someone here locally could do that. So
I think one thing I'd really like to see at a drive-in, if they did sort of pop up over here, would be like Star Wars, especially under a starry night.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I did enjoy. I mean, they had like a horror themed one at the ASP Showgrounds over Halloween. They had like the fright rooms and stuff, and they played some, and that was cool. I did enjoy it. We had some technical problems trying to get the audio working, but this was the radio transmitter and stuff. But
I think that's the way to do it these days, because I think old ones used to have the speaker on the pole, and you used to
pull the speaker.
Car, but if you do it radio frequency, no problem.
Or also webcasting, they can webcast as well. So minimal delay. So that's quite good. I'd be keen to see that too. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. This will be the future yet to be seen.
Future/past, I guess.
Well, I mean, is it the future of what's coming up? But yes, you're right.
So LeBron James says Space Jam 2 is still coming. Don Cheadle is to play a bad guy in it, according to his Black Monday co-star Paul Scheer.
I don't think Paul Scheer was supposed to tell anyone this. As the reaction online was like, "What?" Yeah, I mean, I don't quite get this. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but I don't really see why we needed another Space Jam. Like, there's always been this hype around, hey, we need another Space Jam. Let's get another NBA star. And of course, I ended up being LeBron James. That's fine. There's no problem with that. But I'm just like,
do we really need another one?
I like Space Jam. I remember seeing it in the movies 3 times. But it's a bit overrated. No offense to Space Jam fans, but I think it's not the best movie.
Yeah.
And I was probably peak age to go see that, at the time when it came out, I think, more or less. So,
it'd be interesting to see if Michael Jordan happens to just have a cameo in it or something, or, or it mentions the Looney Tunes, playing a previous game.
Yeah.
With someone, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but...
Yeah, I'm not exactly enthused, but I'll wait. Again, I'll judge it when it comes out.
Yeah, we'll wait and see if anything happens. Ryan Johnson, sorry. It's because it's the I, it throws me
I know,
off.
it
It's
is
Ryan or
so,
Rian.
So the Irish things we were talking about last night.
He's added a Knives Out script to his website alongside the ones previously there for Brick, Brothers Bloom, and Looper.
Yeah, I liked how he actually put it on Twitter. It was like all my scripts except for the ones set in space.
Yeah. That would probably include Last Jedi.
That's what the joke was.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, of course. For some reason I was thinking he'd done another space one.
He hadn't done another space one. That's what he was... Because I don't think he's allowed to because it's Disney, but...
Sorry, my mistake. Clearly not thinking here. Can't read. I'm not thinking.
But yeah, I mean, if anyone's interested, even the Brick one's got a bunch of stuff related to it. It's really cool. It's worth checking out. I think in general, if you're you're interested in the way scripts are made and how they read against what's on screen, it's a really good way to see it. So yeah, definitely recommend going and check that out.
I think I somehow knew this at some point, but apparently the relationship between Shrek and Donkey in Shrek was based off Chris Farley and David Spade, which is why Farley was originally cast to be the voice of Shrek.
Yeah, specifically the example I was given was them in Tommy Boy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that was the idea. I don't know if David Spade was ever considered Donkey. Obviously Chris Farley didn't get that far into recording Shrek before he died, and then they had to recast. So I don't know, but yeah, I wrote this down and was supposed to write down where I saw this and who confirmed it, but it was something related to the production itself. So to Shrek itself, I mean. So yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. I had heard the same story before, but not ever seen it confirmed. It was just like a rumor, so it was nice to see it actually confirmed. It was the casting reason behind it.
And I mean, regardless, it's good to see that it had potentially gone from 2 SNL alums to another 2 SNL alums as well, in Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy. Thank you. Which I kind of think they work off each other quite well.
They do, yeah.
I don't know about their personal relationship.
Yes.
But as far as characters in the movie,
voices,
they work pretty well.
They always work pretty well. Yeah, I just agree with that. Last episode we mentioned that James Bobin was being... To be the director for Clue. Mm-hmm. What I forgot to mention, which I was supposed to, was that Jason Bateman was supposed to direct, and we talked about this many episodes ago, I think. But he actually had to step down from the Clue remake due to his scheduling issues with the show Ozark, although with the current events, who knows what might happen. He may still end up in it. I think at some point he was supposed to play a role in it as well, potentially, just like a small role. Yeah. But we're interested to see what happens. So I think if they find a gap in the schedule, even to bring him in as an actor, maybe they'll do that. So if he can't direct, with James Bobin's doing the role. But I thought I'd mention that just because I forgot to mention it last time. And I saw it again and it reminded me. I was like, damn it, I knew I forgot that part of the information.
It's all right. Atomic Blonde 2 could end up a Netflix production.
There's been some rumblings and rumours about the idea that the movie did reasonably well, not like gangbusters, but for its budget it did reasonably well, and that there's some idea about turning it into a Netflix sequel. So
I'd look into that.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed Atomic Blonde.
I did too. I thought it was actually really good. So
especially the sort of twist at the end as well.
Yeah, it was nice change. So having that set in the kind of around the same time period or early 90s or something could be very interesting. And kind of the fallout of the Cold War and so forth. It'll be quite an interesting continuation of that idea. So I'd be very keen to see it. It'll be up to obviously the production companies behind it and so forth, and Chad Stahelski and all that to see if they want to continue the franchise, and obviously Charlize Theron to come back.
Sure. What else we got here? Olivia Jackson, the stunt woman who was nearly killed and severely injured on a stunt on the set of Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, has won her court case in South Africa where the filming took place.
So this is a really interesting story. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but Jackson, aside from that, she obviously nearly was killed. So she was doing a stunt on a motorcycle with very minimal protective pattern because the actress has to be no helmet and all that sort of stuff. They'd rehearsed the movement, which was her driving in a direction towards a camera crane vehicle, where the crane would be at her level and then pull up over her head. And they did a rehearsal and it was fine. And then when they went to go to filming the actual thing, the camera crane collided with her head, with her upper body. So it twisted her entire spine, mangled her left arm, degloved part of her face, which I don't know if you know that phrase, but it's basically peeling the skin off something, so that's really horrific. It's amazing that she survived, really. Her surgeons, if you've seen photos of her surgeons, as far as her face is concerned, she doesn't see her face as recognisable to herself because obviously it's changed. But fair. It's amazing the work that they've done to make her look normal. There's very minimal scarring, which is a surprise. Wow. But she did lose her limb. She lost her arm. Her spine is still twisted, and she lost work, and she can't work anymore, basically. So she made a lawsuit in the States against the production company and the director and the producer. That got dismissed because they said that their lawyers argued that it needs to take place in South Africa where the filming took place. So her lawyers then moved it to South Africa and sued the production house, so like the camera house and all that sort of stuff that provided the equipment and technical support for the film. And obviously this is the case she's won. So it's kind of it's probably a victory, but in some it was maybe for her a little bit of a hollow victory because of all the rigmarole to get it done, to go through when clearly someone was at fault. So the argument that they put forward was she was negligent on her motorcycle, which clearly is not the case because she was doing what she's done. Turned out that the director of the film had requested a change in the camera position between the rehearsal and the stunt, and that's probably what caused the difference.
And obviously hadn't told her as well.
And didn't tell her directly. So, which is why she won the court case. So, unfortunately, it's
good for her, I guess.
It is good for her. She's been really good, and I feel like for her, it's a good moving forward step. She is pretty much using her injury and her situation to look at the safety requirements on sets and so forth. And obviously there's been other incidents in the last kind of 4 to 5 years where people have been killed. And so it's a really good. She can be kind of a face and a voice for those people. As well.
And just on that note, if I think where the industry could sort of go with this is that if they sort of deem a stunt maybe too dangerous, would it be that much of an ask to put it in digitally?
That's true.
Would it look too out of place, do you reckon? Or
well, this is the thing, like in a case where someone can wear a helmet and you can remove that helmet and replace them with a digital version of that actor's head anyway.
Yeah, you just put like markers on the helmet.
Exactly. Like I just don't see why that isn't a possibility in this day and age. When it gives that stunt person, like in her case, it would have done it still wouldn't have stopped her being injured. She may have still lost her arm and stuff, but the damage to her face would have been minimised.
The helmet would have taken a lot of that.
Exactly, and may have changed the outcome. Unfortunately, that same filming, they had another incident where a stuntman from South Africa got crushed by a Hummer.
That's right,
as well. So, like, they had a pretty problematic production. And it's kind of those things where, and obviously there's been other risks, like Deadpool 2 was the woman who crashed the motorcycle. She was a former motocross rider or something. It was like her first ever stunt, and she died doing the first ever stunt she did. It was just crazy. So it's a very we need to remember, like, people putting limbs and lives on the line for our entertainment should be respected on that level. And people always point out there should be high level stunt awards at the Oscars, because
they so should be. I mean, like, yes, you get actors that do their own stunts like Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan, but 9 times out of 10 it's someone else doing it.
And there's people getting paid money to put themselves at risk.
They're not to say that they're putting they're not getting paid to go out and kill themselves, but
Everything's educated and planned for, but the mistakes can happen just like they can in anything. And so people need to put that idea in that if someone gets injured doing a stunt for your film, I don't feel like it's not hard for the production to feel like they're responsible. Like it's kind of a hard thing that someone has to go through this massive court case just to prove that they were in the right the whole time anyway. Like that's just a horrible outcome, and it's not a good look for the industry. It's not a good look for the filmmakers. It's not,
No, there definitely should be like either a stunt Oscars or an award at the Oscars for stunts.
Yeah, even if it's in the technical awards, I think it still should be a thing that should be added.
Like we've got awards for almost everything, but still no love for the stunties, I guess.
Yeah,
but
exactly. People throwing them off stuff. Yeah.
We'll move on. So there was a thing that's gone around the internet during the quarantine, I guess, is I can't seem to find any source of where this is from, whether it's like Netflix or Hulu or whatever other
digital copies on Apple or whatever.
I can't find any evidence. I should probably go and look at my DVD to see if it's even on that, and I don't remember it. But so there's a thing going around of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire where it looks like there's been a deleted scene added back into the movie, because I initially saw it on Facebook as someone had gone, am I going
crazy?
Am I going crazy or senile, or because I've seen this movie so many times and don't remember the scene? So what it is in Goblet of Fire, when the Triwizard Tournament is about to take place, the girls from Beauxbatons and the guys from Durmstrang show up. And, the Durmstrang girls do all their flutter thing, and the girls from Beauxbatons do their flutter thing, and the boys from Durmstrang do their thing. I can't even remember what it is. But in return, the students of Hogwarts, led by Dumbledore, sing a Hogwarts song, which I recall from the book, but myself, I don't recall in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's why I need to go back and double check this. And yeah, a lot of people were just going, "What is this? Like, we don't remember seeing it."
We've talked about this before. This has happened in some versions of movies. Like we've talked about, the most infamous one for us here in New Zealand is Dumb and Dumber. Mm-hmm. So in Australia and New Zealand, there's an extra scene in the version that was released here, which is where Jim Carrey's
Lloyd
Christmas is going to buy the stuff. He goes out to buy supplies for him and Harry, and there's this little old lady that scams him basically, and that's in the original version.
Yeah.
But there's a extra scene in our version where he comes back and he can't find the lady, and he's like, "Little old lady, little old lady, whoo." And it's funny, but it's only in the version that was in Australian version for some weird reason. Because I've seen I've got an imported Blu-ray of the movie, and it's not in there. It's the uncut version.
I think that's where we originally saw it as well. I was like, hang on, there's a
scene missing.
Yeah, and you were like, what? Because I don't think you'd remembered this either.
No, I didn't.
I had.
You had, and then I went back and
I'm
rewatched.
not going crazy. I know this.
I went back and rewatched the DVD, which I've got, which is the local version. Sure enough, it's in there. So. And I was talking about this just recently as well, like Lilo and Stitch is another one in Disney Plus. They reanimated, so there was a scene where the character hides in a washing machine, and they decided that was not potentially good for kids to learn to hide in a washing machine, so they changed it to a cupboard. They completely reanimated the scene, and it only appeared in certain versions, so people would be rewatching and be like, hang on, wait, what?
Yeah.
I remember this being a washing machine. Like, am I crazy? This is a washing machine, right? Like,
yeah, it's just one of those things that I guess that studios are, especially if it's going to digital places now, that studios are like I won't say re-altering, because that means they're like altering the movies from the original version.
They're not altering them. It's probably what it is. It's the archive version they used. This was a particular print cut that just happened to have that hadn't been removed, or was originally for release and then got trimmed or changed, or somewhere along the line, the version that became the standard version was no longer that one until just whoever's digitized this version just happened to have that scene left in it. It does happen. I mean, I think that's the reason why the same thing happened with, like we were saying, Dumb and Dumber and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very unusual when these sorts of things happen.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Jurassic World Dominion photos have been released. It looks to be a winter setting, potentially.
Partially, yeah. And the actual shot in the shot is the girl from the previous one.
Yeah, the clone of the I can't remember his name. The old guy's original daughter, who's now a clone. But you know who I mean? Is it James somebody?
Yes.
Plays him, James.
Yeah.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Oh, God, yeah, I was just about there, and I was like, hey,
Sorry.
That's all right.
But yeah, you know who I mean.
But yeah, so that's a big giant spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen
Yeah.
the last Jurassic World movie anyway, if you care.
Is it a spoiler? I don't care.
If you can see his face right now, he's just making this, I don't give a crap face. That movie was terrible. I don't even care. Who cares about
Darth Vader is Luke's father. Jog on. Sue me. I don't care. Actually, no, don't sue me. I don't have that much money.
Sue him.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, it would be interesting. He was shared it because the production obviously has been shut
Yep.
down temporarily during this whole coronavirus thing, so he was just showing that some of the production had away. Didn't estimate how much had been shot, but yeah, we'll be interested to see what happens. I was just going to say, going back to the Goblet of Fire thing, you'll have to let us know if you do look that up.
I will, yep. I'll probably do that up shortly. Shortly.
Shortly.
Shorter.
Shortly.
Shocker today. Holy cow.
All right, I'll let you add this last
Yeah.
thing because I know nothing about this at all.
Yeah, so I'd read this last night. Suzanne Collins is writing a Hunger Games prequel. Apparently Lionsgate is in talks to bring it to the big screen with Francis Lawrence, who's directed Catching Fire and Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2. Now, it looks to be set 64 years before Katniss Everdeen, so before... what's her name? Lawrence? Jennifer Lawrence's character from the whole series. It's said to be based on Coriolanus Snow, I hope I said that right, who was played by Donald Sutherland in the series.
So it's basically seeing how he got to where he was. And,
I think so, from what I can
and
tell.
what happened with the districts and so
Yeah,
forth.
I definitely think that seems to be what it's playing at.
I just hasten to, does anyone care? This is like our question with Solo. Does anyone care?
Yeah, I saw the first Hunger Games. I went, yeah, all right. I've seen this.
I saw all of them
before.
I saw all of them except for the second part of Mockingjay. I still haven't seen it. Where I wanted to. I actually ended up enjoying them. I thought they were okay. They're not like amazing, but I thought they were entertaining. But I'm not interested in seeing that story personally.
Yeah.
But then I'm perhaps not the target audience or the people who was really keen on it 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it for the fact that I'd seen that type of movie before, like Battle Royale. You know, where you've got a group of people all trying to kill each other for this ultimate purpose. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll buy into this. But for me, I think I was, much like you, the wrong demographic.
Yeah. Peter!
God.
Sorry, had to be done.
Yep.
Peter!
Right, we'll move on to our trailers section.
There's not much because there isn't obviously a lot of
Hasn't
stuff
been anything
coming out that people don't want to show off. So I found 3 trailers for us to briefly talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is a remake musical version of Valley Girl. Now this is interesting because Valley Girl's actually just been released on the internet. You can actually find it on YouTube for free. Like I don't know why, but all of a sudden it's just the whole movie. It's Nicolas Cage, very young. It was early 80s.
83, I think it said when we watched the trailer.
So I showed Ryan the original trailer because he's never seen the movie.
Or heard of it for that fact.
Oh, really? Well, okay. So, I'll give you a background behind it. I think we've talked about this before. But so Valley Girl, I think I talked about this briefly because I saw it at the movie marathon last year. I knew about it beforehand. So you have kind of heard about it. You just didn't put 2 and 2 together, I think. So there was that whole thing about, was it Frank Zappa's daughter, Moon Unit, had created this thing about girls in her school in the Valley where they talked in this kind of Valley speak and made a big kind of performance thing about it. And this inspired the idea of this movie where these girls kind of live in their little cliques of society and speak with this Valley Girl talk. And what happens about the cultural clash between them and other parts of Los Angeles, basically. And I think that's kind of the genesis of the idea. And this girl ends up dating this guy from Hollywood who's like a kind of a ruffian and likes punk music, and it's best played by Nicolas Cage. And the juxtaposition between what her friends and family think about that, you know. So basically now they've turned it into a very modern musical remake where it's like kind of post-set because you've got like the main character's daughter coming home and telling her mum that, you know, she doesn't understand what the relationship breakup that she's just gone through. Then she ends up recounting the story about what happened in the 80s. But it's all like bright colors and
it kind of looks like it's set in the 80s, but also kind of not.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's kind of really threw me off.
It's totally weird. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten her name already. I had it in my head just like a few seconds ago. It's the actress who was in La La Land and Happy Death Day to You. Jessica, she's playing the younger version of the girl anyway. That was her, and she was one of the singers and performers in La La Land. So it's not a surprise that she'd be in a dancing musical movie.
Makes sense.
It just there's interesting because the original Valley Girl, for all of its kind of weirdness, there's some gritty realism to it. Like this, you could tell that even in that trailer. I assume you could see there's like some truth to it because it's set in the 80s. It was in the 80s. It was modern set for its time. So now you're making this fantasy musical, but you're kind of throwing back to the 80s, and it's too bright and colourful. You'd be better off just telling the story now. Yeah,
as a modern day version.
And doing it more justice and feeling more realistic. But anyway, when you do a fantasy musical, why not? And the lamp shading in that trailer too was hilarious. It's like, when she's like, so you were singing and dancing on a fountain. Well, that's how I remembered it. Like, really? Like, I don't know. Anyway, it looks really dumb. It came up with my suggested things. It's a straight to video kind of thing. I think it was supposed to get some sort of theatrical release, but then didn't. So very interesting. I would highly recommend not watching that, but watching the original for free on YouTube. That's a much better idea, I think, because at least you get some weird Nicolas Cage and some vintage 80s weirdness. So. Yeah. Also in that movie, I think I talked about this in the original Valley Girl. Very young. My God, my brain's gone blank. She's the voice of Tommy in Rugrats.
A.G. Daly.
Yes, Elizabeth Daly. She's in the original version as well.
She was in the trailer, wasn't she?
Yes, that was.
Yes, I thought so. Yeah,
I was going to say you would have seen her in the trailer. The group of friends that she had. Yeah. So in the original movie as well.
We've also got Capone, starring Tom Hardy.
Yes.
Let's say Holland.
Holland? Well, that'd be an interesting take on Capone.
Yeah, Tom Hardy is Al Capone.
Yeah, so an elderly Al Capone, so it's like after he's been in prison. And it's kind of loosely based on a true story. Interestingly, director's Josh Trank, who I'm amazed he's still able to make movies.
Somehow someone rehired him.
It's been in production for a couple of years. But it looks intriguing. It looked like it could be a little bit by the numbers, but... Still interesting a good cast. Like there's quite a few famous faces in there. Yeah. Based on true events. Classic old Al Capone's vault. Missing money and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, could be good, could be bad. Who knows? Tom Hardy. You never know what to expect from him. Really, to be honest.
True. He's a good character actor as well. And Extraction, the Netflix movie starring Chris Hemsworth,
which I think is out this week on Netflix. It looks alright. It's done by I think it's produced, not directed by the Russo brothers.
Yeah, produced by the Russo brothers.
And it's about him extracting a boy out of a war zone where the boy's been kidnapped because he's like related. He's being held hostage for. I think it's like someone related to like the enemy's. Let's say the royalty or like prime minister or something. I think it was the drug lord. No, I think the drug lord is doing the kidnapping. He's the son of someone.
Okay, gotcha.
I can't remember. It seemed overly complicated for us, but anyway, he has to protect him, and then the whole thing goes pear shaped on him because like everyone's hunting the boy for like reward money, and he's told to just drop the target and escape himself, and then he decides not to. So could be good, could be bad. The trailer looked interesting. You were quite impressed by some of the camera work, and just generally the tone of it looked quite cool. Could be just a nice little switch your brain off action movie for a night on Netflix. So that's something to look forward to coming up in the next week.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on it, and if either one of us sees it,
we'll
definitely have to review it in a later episode.
I'll probably watch it at some point, to be honest. Yeah.
Speaking of reviews, it's a good segue there. We'll move on to our review section. I'll start off with Clone Wars, the TV series. Now, one of the things, I probably couldn't have done it in quarantine, but, I thought while I'm in quarantine and not working, I might as well do something.
Well, you're technically still working. Let's put it you're still working, but you're working you had been working 5 on 5 off, so you've had 5 days off each time in a row. So,
I guess one of my goals, if you could call it that, was to watch all of Clone Wars, because I'd watched the first 3 seasons previously, because I've got them on Blu-ray, but... Since they're all on Disney Plus, I was like, no, I'm going to watch the lot now, especially with the new season just about to finish in a couple of weeks. So I've got through all of that, and I think it's a shame that they initially cancelled it after the 6th season, when Disney had purchased like Lucasfilm and all that, because there was definitely a lot of potential there for it to keep going at least another few seasons, in my opinion. But now they've got to the 7th season, which is they've just had to like wrap it all up, and they're like, no, this is the final season, which is a shame in my opinion, because if they kept it going, they could have got to like 10, 11 seasons maybe, and had it across like say the 3 years between Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith
Per season, kind of.
Yeah, because I mean that's the if you look at the actual Star Wars timeline, that between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith is 3 years, so they could have gone like, okay, seasons 1 and 2 is like 6 months, 3 and 4 is another 6 months sort of thing.
Yeah,
and work your way to it. But yeah, so Clone Wars now, we've finally got into the last 4 episodes, which is the Siege of Mandalore arc, which a lot of people are really excited for. But it also ties into the start of Revenge of the Sith as well. So within this, we've already seen that some of the Jedi are scattered throughout the universe. There's like Aayla Secura on Felucia, Plo Koon on Cato Neimoidia, and I think it's mentioned a couple of other Jedi wherever they are during the Revenge of the Sith as well. But it also mentions that so Anakin and Obi-Wan meet up with Ahsoka again after Ahsoka's been banished from the Jedi Order, and then Ahsoka tries to recruit Anakin and Obi-Wan to go to Mandalore with her because Maul is still alive and taken over Mandalore and running his siege. But then they get a call that Grievous has infiltrated Coruscant and kidnapped Palpatine, who has been protected by Shak Ti. So yeah, so it's leading into the start of Revenge of the Sith. So I think watch this space, and I'll give an overall review when it's all finished.
Yeah, we
tied up.
said you got a couple more episodes to go. So.
And of course the final episode's dropping early on May the 4th. So
for good cause. I said to you, we don't know, maybe an extra long last episode just to kind of cover as much.
And like I've already seen online, like people are already saying that, but we've only had 1 episode so far, but they're already saying the Siege of Mandalore arc is turning out to be a better Star Wars film than others. Yeah. Which I'd probably agree with, because I mean, in 25 minutes they've got a lot of information out, but it doesn't feel shoehorned in.
Good. Well, that's the thing. This is what we were talking about before as well, about things having to be pushed and putting things in their place so they're in the right place when you connect something that already pre-exists. And if it feels forced, that's when people go, ugh.
Yeah.
Whereas if it doesn't feel forced, it feels like a natural progression and feels like things actually are going to the way they're going to go because they have to and there's no other choice, but not because it has to be written that way, then people feel much more comfortable about it. So, yeah, definitely.
We'll move on to Guns Akimbo, because we watched that last night.
Yes.
So it's the Daniel Radcliffe vehicle, which was mostly filmed in Auckland, but also Germany as well.
Yeah, I think it was Germany,
Yeah, so if you don't know what Guns Akimbo is about, it's... Can we talk about it? Is it...
Yeah, it's been released here. Yeah,
okay, so we can talk about it. Okay, I wasn't sure because you brought it up last time after the movie.
Well, movie marathon. So I didn't know. So I didn't mention it in the movie marathon episode. We did see it at the movie marathon, but I didn't say this. I said this when the trailers dropped. So yeah, it's supposed to come out in February, and it's kind of probably got a little bit shorthand. Or is it February or March? I can't remember. But it's got a bit undercut because of a couple of things. Yes.
So yeah, so it's Daniel Radcliffe, who's like a video, not a video game. Well, yeah, it's kind of a video game, but it's an app game programmer who's, just a general run-of-the-mill slacker who the world passes him by, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, he likes to go... He gets his thrills by trolling people online, and this one time he trolls the wrong person and ends up with guns bolted to his hands.
Yeah. So the wrong person is like the admin / runner of this online battle game called Schism, which has people fight to the death, basically. And so that's why they've bolted the guns to his hand.
Online entertainment.
Yeah, and they've battled him against like the person who's like the top of the current leaderboard in Schism. So...
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, like I mentioned before, we've definitely seen this sort of movie before with like Battle Royale or Hunger Games where people are battling to the death.
But as I said, the tone's more like Gamer or Crank or those sorts of movies where it's a little bit like tongue-in-cheek, a bit over the top. There's a bit of exploitation-esque filmmaking there, but with like higher production values. I really enjoyed it too, and I saw it was definitely one of the highlights of the marathon, and so to watch it again last night was really good. So
yeah.
I enjoyed seeing it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I mean, I think I give it a 4 out of 5, so it's reasonably high.
It's a really high score. I was going to say, I do. This is no spoiler, but I did like the fact that you pointed out that that Stan Bush track, like I did when I heard that the first time. I was just like, that sounds like Stan Bush. I'm totally going to see it. Check the credits.
You can't not hear it.
Yeah, there's just the style of the music, and then him singing. It's just like, because when that music started the first time, I was like, this sounds like a track that Stan Bush would make. And then he starts singing. I was like, yeah, it's definitely him.
Yeah, that's why it took me a while because I initially heard it. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it went on, I was like, yeah, it has to be.
It's very good.
So I'm glad I picked that.
I watched a few movies online that have all been released digitally recently that were all at the cinemas because I got to not see them at cinemas, so I watched them. So I'm just going to really quickly go through the three of them. The first one was Sonic the Hedgehog. I actually really enjoyed it. Okay. I really did not think I was going to. The tone was just right. It had a good sense of humour. I think I liked it more than the Detective Pikachu movie, and it's kind of in that same sensibility of, you know, like an animated character teamed up with an actual human. Not that I disliked the Detective Pikachu film either, but I just thought tonally it was just the right level of light entertainment. Nothing amazing, but not bad. The jokes land. Jim Carrey was really good as well. Like, great casting. He just fit the role.
I think a lot of people said that when the trailers first dropped.
He plays Robotnik as if he's like, you remember Dammers from The Frighteners? He's a little bit weird and a bit kooky in his own little world. Yeah, he's like that. He's like that sort of.
I had to remember who that was.
Yeah. But he's also very intelligent, super intelligent, and he obviously feels like he's superior to everyone, and it comes through like the way he talks to every single person. And there's some great things with him and like talking down to people and his assistant and the way he. Yeah, and it's a really good juxtaposition. They set up the ending where they could potentially make another one if they wanted to, and I think it's done quite well enough, even with the box office cut off due to the coronavirus, that it probably will get a sequel, to be honest. So and I think that was very much helped by the redesign on Sonic 2, which was definitely not. The version they've gone with is very easy to see. Like, it's not it's not horrible in the eyes. Bad Boys for Life, a really solid Bad Boys sequel. I was really surprised again. I think I went, wow, okay. Not like groundbreaking, but like definitely entertaining. The action was done reasonably well. The story beats were nice. There's some nice little unexpected twists and character development in there, which I never thought I would say about a Bad Boys film. I really enjoyed it. Again, it's going back to what I was just saying about Sonic and how well it's done. Bad Boys for Life is still currently the biggest box office success of the year because of the coronavirus. It's made more money than the other film this year. Which probably guarantees that they'll make another one at some point down the line, and some nice moments, and I was quite surprised, so I do recommend it to people to watch. The last one I watched was the Vin Diesel movie Bloodshot, which we've talked about previously as well, based on a comic thing. It's okay. Like, solid action, good casting. They revealed, I think, too much in the trailers to kind of explain that obviously he's been manipulated, but then I don't know how else you would market that to not have that in there. So there's not really much guesswork in what's going to happen.
Okay.
You kind of know what's going to happen, like he's being twisted. Of course, he's going to figure this out or find out or whatever, and he's going to get his revenge, just like he's supposedly getting revenge on these people who he thinks he needs to get revenge on. But the visual effects were kind of cool, and I again, if you're just stuck in quarantine right now and you want to sit down for a couple of hours and just watch something to switch your brain off, you could go a lot worse, to be honest. Definitely. I just wanted to also throw back in here, there's an old movie, but I watched it again. It came on Netflix suggested, and I think I mentioned this on a chat online with you and someone else.
Hi Skip, by the way.
Hi Skip, yes. If you're listening to this about 6 months down the track. Because I think he's that far behind still by now. But Midnight Run. Robert De Niro, Charles Grodin. So Grodin's like an accountant and finds out that he was employed by a mobster. So he embezzles $15 million of the mobster's money and then uses it on charities and just try to do some good stuff with it. Of course, gets found out by the mobsters, and then the FBI find out that he knows the bookie stealings, with the mob's money, and so he's been flagged to be picked up, but he's in hiding, so they send out De Niro plays a bounty hunter who's a former cop, and it has some nice twists and unravels, some great character moments. So there's some scenes that are totally improv that they did on the spot with each other, and it's really funny. And I'd forgotten how good a movie is. I don't think I've seen it for like 20 plus years, and
wow.
I really thought, wow, this is a really good movie. It came out in the late 80s, like 88 or something. And yeah, I don't know why Netflix just suggested it to me, but I was just sitting there one day and went, oh yeah, cool, I'll watch this, and really, really enjoyed it. So if you see it on Netflix or a copy around somewhere, I highly recommend watching it. It's a really good movie. I'd forgotten how good it was.
Okay, so our last review for this episode is we've got another special guest reviewer, is again my girlfriend Anne. Anne, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, babe.
Thank you for that. So you recently saw Lady Bird, was it, on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. How did you find that?
Yeah, it was good. I would definitely rate it like 2.5 out of 5.
All right.
Yeah. I watched it because it's made by Greta Gerwig. Is that how you pronounce
Yes,
it? Yeah. And she also wrote it, so it's a very good impact in the female film industry, in my opinion. And it was good because I really enjoy like coming of age films. I always enjoy them for some reason, probably because of like some sort of teenage trauma I had. I don't know. And it was. It also had. I thoroughly enjoyed mostly Saoirse Ronan. Is that how you? All these complicated names in this film. Her acting in the film. It was like she's a good actress. I think we all notice. Like she just handles. She's so flexible. She can do anything, and mainly because of her young face, she can literally do any age. Like we all know she's like what, like our age? Well, my age.
She is. I'm just looking at it now. 94. So
no offense, but
was it 26?
94. Yeah, 20,
Yeah.
25.
Well, by the time that movie came, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago, so she would have been early 20s.
So a few years young before me, but she's acting as a teenage girl there. It's all about teenagehood, and yeah, she really stepped into that role. Couldn't even just forgot that it was her for the whole movie, and I think it's a really nice interpretation on mother-daughter relationships because usually, like, well, I suppose it's a little bit like Brave as well because you haven't seen Brave, have you, babe?
No.
But well, basically, it's a nice interpretation on how mother-daughter relationships, even though it can have fights, there's still some sort of beauty out of that. So I like that. Because basically her and the other actress, who is, I forgot her name, but...
Laurie Metcalf, the mother?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
She plays Marion McPherson.
All I know is she's Sheldon's mum from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And basically she has this really conflicting relationship with the main character because they're both mother and daughter and they just like fight all the time. And it's got some similarities with like Perks of the Wallflower as well.
Okay.
Is that?
Yep. Perks of Being a Wallflower. Yep.
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Like a teenage coming of age movie.
Yeah, it's very similar for sure. Just more from a female teenager's perspective. And the cinematography was also really good. Very in the theme because I think it's not based on our current time. I think it's a little bit before. Yeah,
it says here what I'm reading on IMDb is that in 2002 an artistically inclined 17-year-old girl comes of age in Sacramento, California.
So it's got kind of like a late 90s feel to it. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Sounds somewhat semi-autobiographical a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. Yeah, so I read that it was apparently kind of based on Greta's personal life. Because Greta was also... her mom was also a nurse, and she was also from Minnesota, and she also moved to New York when she was 19, which is what happened to the main character. Spoiler alert. And yeah, so that was pretty cool. I think the fact that's autobiographical is also really cool for me because it just shows that she's, I don't know, willing to expose her vulnerabilities, I guess. Yeah, so because of that, I've now downloaded Little Woman, which is also adapted by her. Adapted screenplay, anyway. So hopefully I will review that as well.
Okay, we can do that in the next episode.
Yeah.
Did well at the Oscars, that movie. So.
Yeah, it did. It got Best Adapted Screenplay. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, overall, yeah, love the movie. Highly recommend it. Watch it. Watch it while you can, guys.
So 3.5 out of 5?
Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, Anne, for coming in and reviewing that. We look forward to seeing Little Woman in the next episode.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Until then.
All right, we've finally come to that part of the show that everybody loves and or hates.
No, I think we established that everyone loves it and we don't.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think everyone loves listening to our pain. That's why we hate it.
Yeah, we still need to make a new list of these based off my DVDs.
Yeah.
Rather than, so because there's obviously a lot more stuff in there that you've more likely seen. But of course, obviously, being stuck at home, I can't really do that right now. So we'll just have to stick with the old bag.
Yeah,
there's
until
still
we
plenty
run out.
there's still plenty in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll go through them until we can.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right,
All right.
so-
Shall I start this week?
Yeah, you feel free. Yeah.
All right, since you started last time. Okay, all right. I'm going to go with something really simple, but like hopefully not too simple. All right. This is the story of a true romance.
Story of a true romance.
Yeah.
I got nothing's popping in my head at the moment. Like it's like Romeo and Juliet, Titanic.
No. No.
So true romance makes me think it's possibly based on a true story, but I can't think of anything that would be romantic and a true story at the same time.
You've got 5 seconds.
Is it an officer and a gentleman?
No.
Ah,
2, 1.
no.
It's the Princess Bride, mate.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. Yeah, that's why he describes it. You know.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That's why he describes it in the movie. I had to think about that for so long. That was really tough, man. Like to try and figure out, like, what did I say? Storybook, you get that. Story within a story, probably would have got that. Like, it's a really tough one. It was inconceivable. There's coming to Disney Plus too. I saw. Is it? Oh my gosh. Who the main? Oh my gosh, my brain's just gone blank. Who the main 2 actor and actress are?
In Princess Bride?
Yes.
Carrie Always and
Johnny.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright, thank you. My God. The two of them chatting. Disney set up a little chat between the two of them to talk about Princess Bride and then announced that it was coming to Disney Plus on May the 1st, I think it is.
Okay. This follows a man who doesn't know what's happened to him.
Follows a man who doesn't know what's happened to him.
So he's had something happen, but he doesn't know what it is.
Oh gosh, you have got me with this one. Nothing's springing to mind at all. I'm going to say it and I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, of course. Doesn't know what's happened to him.
10 seconds.
Nothing. I've got absolutely zip on this
Another
one.
5 seconds.
Not even a single guess.
No. And time was The Sixth Sense.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
Bruce Willis didn't know he was dead.
Yeah, good call.
Spoiler alert on that, by the way. See,
you care about that, but not about Jurassic World. Yeah.
The other things I was thinking was like a child can talk to ghosts.
Yeah, well, I would have got that. That was a good one. That was a really good. That was probably one of the best ones you've ever done, Ryan. I reckon that's really.
I thought, you could say Casper as well, but you'd probably get that from it as well. I was also kind of thinking that you might have gone Unbreakable or something. Like he didn't know what's happened to him.
Ooh, yeah, that's not bad. That's kind of a thematic connection there that I've never thought of, Ryan. That's really good as well. Jeez. You're really on fire today.
It burns.
It burns. Holy crap. Yeah, that's really good. All right, I've got one. Let me try and think about this. Okay, so this movie's about 2 things finding each other.
Finding Nemo?
Damn it! Damn it! I thought if I go really simple and you would overthink it and you got it straight away. Damn it.
Well, it was either going to be that or Dory.
Yeah, it would have been hilarious if I'd gone no and you went, oh, damn, is it Dory?
Well, yeah. just immediately popped in.
God, I was hoping if I go really simple, you'd overthink it. It did not work. Ryan saw right through that one.
The clue's the name's kind of in the clue, I guess.
Yeah, that was why I went. If I make it way too obvious, you'd potentially go, oh, it could be anything trying to find something else. Yeah.
Okay, you might get this, but I'll try it. An only child singing and dancing with their imaginary friends.
Oh, you're on fire this week. I'm absolutely stumped by that.
10 seconds.
Oh my gosh. I was about to say labyrinth, but then I was like, nah. Oh my
There's
god.
a clue kind of there to what it was, and that's time.
Oh my god. What is it?
So they were singing and dancing.
Yeah.
It's the Wizard of Oz.
Oh. Alright. Yep. Holy shit, you're doing really well. Ooh, okay, I've got this one. Alright. Son and father team up to find out the meaning of life.
Son and father team up to find the meaning of life. Son and father. It's not Finding Nemo again.
Ooh.
It could be Finding Dory, because I haven't seen it.
Finding Dory.
Father and son team up. I can't even think of any father-son team-ups.
5 seconds.
No, I got nothing.
2.
I generally got nothing.
The answer is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, of course. But of course.
That's of course.
See, I was thinking, like, something more recent for some reason. I wasn't thinking oldish. A computer hacker is shown his true potential.
Tron.
No.
War Games.
No.
Matrix.
Yes. It's the Matrix.
The Matrix. Hey, I think it was even.
You've still got... Oh, no, that is... Yeah, you started. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So 2-1 each.
Yeah, 2-1 each. Wow.
That hasn't happened for a while.
That hasn't... I don't think it's ever happened. I don't think we've ever come out of a tie ever. That's amazing. Well done. Your ones this week were really good. I really enjoyed your Sixth Sense one, especially. I thought that was really impressive. Honestly, I didn't even think. I didn't even factor. That was really cool. I really liked that.
Oh, there we go.
So indeed.
Came out at 2-1 each.
Yeah, impressive. I'm quite impressed by that. Give those up.
Nope.
That's it for another episode. I have no idea what the next one's going to look like at this rate with all the coronavirus stuff. Are we going to even have anything to talk about? No more delays. It'll be more delay. It'll be another half an hour of us talking about what's delayed.
Delays, yeah, that'll be it.
And
probably not very many trailers.
Yeah, maybe we're lucky. Maybe that Bill and Ted trailer, possibly. But we'll see what happens in the next month. We've kind of pushed this one out a little bit further than normal, just because of more to talk about. But
yeah, and I mean, we'll definitely come back with the 5 perfect films in our mind as well.
I'm going to write that down now while I remember this. I will make a new podcast 16 list and write that in there.
And as always, I'll fill out this end. Make sure to subscribe, like, share us around wherever possible. Let your friends and family know. Let other people outside your bubble know in case they want something to do.
Yeah, here's something to listen to for an hour and a half, Yeah,
listen to these 2 idiots ramble on about nothing.
Well, lots of stuff, but specifically nothing. But
yeah.
At the same time, it's amazing how we work. Why anyone even listens to us, I don't know. They probably don't. It's 5 minutes and go, I forgot why I don't listen to these guys.
Yeah.
If you've listened this far, thank you very much.
Yeah, and if you're still listening to us after this many episodes, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. Thank you very much. All right, so I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll catch you again in a few more weeks, probably.
No doubt, yeah.
And we'll see you then.
All right, so
bye.